all the way down to the grapes that you've never even heard of before. Oh yeah, we cover it all. And we'll talk about a little bit of sports as well. Football, hockey, collegiate, women's sports, it doesn't matter. We're going to talk about it all, and we're going to whine about it all. So join me Monday at 8 p.m. on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Wrestling fans in the podcast world, you are in the right place to listen to the right show, the premier show in the professional wrestling podcasting world. This is Ring Rambling Radio, and you are listening to one of the co-hosts. I am Martin Sandoval, a.k.a. the SoCal Saint, along with my two co-hosts, the lovely Felicia and my boy Matt. Yes, every Saturday or every other Saturday morning, you can listen to us, the premier wrestling team, giving you the premier wrestling news, rumors, updates, event discussions, everything that has to do with professional wrestling. You're in the right place. IE Sports Radio presents Ring Rambling Radio. Don't miss it, because it's just too sweet.
Motorsports takes many form, and there's one show on IE Sports Radio that's ready to cover it all.
I sure hope you're talking about you and I, Daryl, because I know the Extra Mile is the best place to go for everything motorsports related.
Yes, it is. From NASCAR to IndyCar to sports cars to everything in between, IE Sports Radio has everything covered for the fastest sport in the world.
Plus, don't forget all of our random shenanigans along the way.
That's right, Caitlin. So for plenty of motorsports coverage and plenty of Caitlinisms, check out The Extra Mile on IE Sports Radio with Daryl Kinsey Jr. and Caitlin Seen, Thursdays at 8 p.m.
Welcome back, ladies and sinners. Welcome back to another edition of the Sin City Sports Show presented by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'm your host, Cale Henderson. I want to apologize as we speak. I just realized we had some technical difficulties with the show. I basically did a half a show without actually recording it or going live, and that's my bad. That was some technical difficulties that I was dealing. I sorted it out with the man, the myth, the legend, Larry B himself. We won't be able to recap that, but we can do a slight recap on what happened, right? Las Vegas Aces are killing it. They're in the semifinals. They're down 1-0 against the Seattle Storm, but they do have an extra home game, 3 more games to get it figured out. I do think they win 3 straight, and they are backed by, again, AJ Wilson, the reigning Defensive Player of the Year. You have Jackie Young, the most improved Player of the Year. Kelsey Plum, who kills it. All of them are over 15 points per game, easy, and shooting more than 50% from the floor. So I do think that they're a team that will come out of it. They'll snap out of this rut. They only lost by 3 points to a really good team that gave them fits during the regular season. So regardless, I have faith that the Las Vegas Lady Aces will rally and get to the finals, who I believe they will meet up with the Chicago Sky. We talked a little bit about Major League Baseball moving to Vegas. Yes, it would be huge. We talked about the value of franchises and how much they multiply when you move to a new place. You have a new arena, new attraction, new tourism. I think it'd be huge if Major League Baseball figured that out. I think it'd be massive if Major League Baseball figured that out. I mean, look at the Raiders. Look at the Golden Knights. Look how popular they are at this time. People love going to those events, and I think it'd be unbelievably huge if they could do that. And it looks like the team they're really eyeing is the Oakland A's because of that situation in Oakland with the baseball park. Even though Oakland's kind of put out some, lame duck offers to build a new arena and all that other stuff at the O Coliseum, they kind of did the same thing with the Raiders to kind of make the fan base, make it look like to the fan base, oh, we tried. But Oakland's just, they don't care anymore. That place has just kind of gone downhill ever since Mayor Libby, I think it's Mayor Libby Sharf or whatever it is, kind of took over. She let the Raiders walk. She should have never done that, but it was best for the Raiders. Again, we talked about, and again, you didn't hear it because of technical difficulties on my behalf. I apologize. The Raiders went from a franchise that was worth $970 million who are now worth like $4.6 to $4.8 billion as we speak. In just 2.5 years of being in Vegas, they quadrupled their net worth. And it's only getting better because they were legitimately the highest season ticket total team this year at $119 million. Just unbelievable. Unbelievable. $119 million versus the Cowboys won $17 million. I don't know if they'll ever reach the Cowboys level of net worth because that's just unbelievable what Jerry Jones does on a consistent basis there. But it wouldn't surprise me if the Raiders crack the top 5 within the next 5 years, right? Within the next 5 years, I would say within the next couple of years, you'll see a $6 billion team. That's how much the net worth in Vegas is driving the price up and making things better. I love it. I think it's great. I think Major League Baseball should take advantage of that. UNLV had their home opener this last weekend against Idaho State. It was a resounding victory. Overall, UNLV kicked ass. That's how we can summarize it. 52-21. It was easy. It was 45-7 at half. So it wasn't even this close. I know it's not close, but it wasn't even this close as far as the scoreboard's concerned. 45-7 at half. Quarterback Doug Brumfield killed it. Had an unbelievable quarterback rating, 256.4. They were video game like numbers, man. And he had a great time, passing to sophomore wide receiver Ricky White, transfer from Michigan State. Overall, Coach Arroyo, that's a great way to start. I know it's only Idaho State, but still, you won it. You won it. It is what it is. Brumfield won the job. He was over Tennessee transfer Harrison Bailey and Cameron Frail, someone that they were going at it. Basically, what happened was Brumfield, he went ahead and added himself. Yeah, he went ahead and he was basically going through some, I'd say personal issues. He was having issues with the idea that there was a quarterback competition going on. He entered the transfer portal and later came back no more than about a month later, and he won the job. Great to Brumfield. Happy for him. I think it's awesome that he did that. Says the type of moxie this guy has. And, again, wonderful first game. Wonderful first game with a 256.4. Like, legitimately, I don't know if you can get much better than that as far as the ratings are concerned. So that was fantastic. UNLV starts with a 52-21 romping over Idaho State. Again, it's Idaho State, but it makes a huge difference. The story of the weekend, though, with UNLV doesn't happen to be the play. There's no longer a quarterback controversy or mystery. As long as that offensive line keeps Brumfield up, I think this is a team that could be much better. Spread it out. They have 4 receivers, track speed type receivers they can get the ball to. Oh, no. It's in the turnover celebration. Do you guys remember those lame duck turnover chains that Miami did? It was kind of cool the first year, but after that it was kind of weird. Then the Bulldogs, I think they had a championship title belt or something like that. Was it last year or something like that? Now, UNLV has a turnover slot machine. Yes, you heard that right. They have a slot machine on their sideline. That is their turnover slot machine. It is their now celebratory prop. When they get a turnover, they run over there, they pull it. It's so dope. If you guys get a chance, go to Cofield or at Steve Cofield on Twitter. The video of linebacker Austin, I think it's a Jakey with a pick 46-yard return. He runs over to the slot machine and he pulls it. right after the turnover. It was super dope, guys. You want to talk about something that's super cool? Yep, there he goes, pulls it. Awesome. If you guys get a chance, look at the turnover slot machine that UNLV football put in Allegiant Stadium. It was super, super cool. And that is the talk of the town. Not that they won 52-21, not that they were up 45-7 at halftime, but the fact that the team had a turnover slot machine. Not a turnover chain or a lame-ass WWE title turned into some weird turnover thing like the Georgia Bulldogs did. No, a turnover slot machine, and what a fitting way to celebrate in Vegas. Turning our heads real quick before we go to the Raiders, we got to talk about our sponsor. And again, you guys missed the announcement of the sponsor earlier because, like an idiot, I was having technical difficulties and I didn't realize it. I reached out to Larry. Larry fixed the technical difficulty, and I just didn't notice it before starting the show. So I basically went half the show without giving you guys the stuff you needed. But for the last 8 years, IE Sports Radio, the platform that we're on currently, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. All the while, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and with your help, we are ready to take the next step. When you go to our website, iesportsradio.com, you'll see our Patreon link with 5 different tiers, with the first one starting at just $5 a month. $5, that's it? You guys waste that on coffee on a daily basis. Give us that $5, man. Support us. We'll give you all the content you want. This donation gets you shout-outs on all 32 of our shows. Highest tiers include IE Sports Radio merchandise, access to our podcasting university, and even a chance to be focused on a segment of our flagship show, The Defining Moment. Thank you all very much for continuing to make IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. And again, you would have heard that if I didn't have the technical problems. And that's on me. I'm very sorry about that. Moving on to the Raiders. Lots of news going on with the Raiders because they had to cut to 53. Went 4-0 the preseason. Big deal, right? Here's my take on the preseason. I give them a B+, and I say it like this. It was a solid game plan. We rarely saw starters except for what we thought was going to be starters on the offensive line because they need the reps. They're trying to figure out who's going to be that starting 5 come day 1 against the Los Angeles Chargers. I'm still having a hard time not saying San Diego. It's super weird, and I apologize for that, but it is what it is. Yeah, I mean, we have a game coming up September 11th at 3:25 in the Pacific Standard Time in Los Angeles against the Chargers. Chargers open up against us. We open in Los Angeles against the Chargers, and hopefully we leave with a win under Josh McDaniels. One thing I can tell you about the Raiders and what I saw in the preseason, the reason why I give it such a solid B+, is I think we saw backups dominate. I think we saw backups get valuable reps against teams that were putting like for example the Patriots game, the most recent preseason game. They had the camp all week, and all you heard all week was how dominating the Raiders were. And then you go to the preseason game, and I guess again, I don't think Raiders writers are full of it. I don't think they fluff anything. As a matter of fact, sometimes I think they're overly critical and don't know what the hell they're talking about at times. But at other times, like, they're spot on, man. They're real as it gets. They're kind of like the Raiders fan base, man. We're just as real as it gets. For example, I think Derek Carr is a top 10 talent. But I also agree with the fact that it's a win now thing for him, man. He has no more excuses. He has plenty of weapons. If he had one built-in excuse this season, it's how bad the offensive line is. But I do think that Carmen Bracillo and Josh McDaniels are figuring this out. I really do. I think they're thinking about what they want to do for a starting 5. Do I think that starting right tackle is on the roster right now? Hell no. No. I think Dave Ziegler is looking out there, man. He's pawning picks. He's building up whatever he can. He doesn't care if he has 4 or 5 picks this year again. I don't think he cares. He would rather have a right tackle and keep his franchise quarterback for the next 3 years upright than worry about spending picks. Get a proven quality product. If that's something Dave Ziegler has shown us he's willing to do, Devontae Adams, i.e., right? He'll do it. He's going to go after it. So I do a solid B+ because I also saw game plans, man. And these game plans were brought to fruition, and they were executed very well by a bunch of backups and guys trying to make the team. Like clamoring for reps and trying to put in quality reps so they can make this football team. And Josh McDaniels and them, they didn't mince words. Like, they knew that they had their backups in. it's encouraging. Bill Belichick is one of the greatest coaches to ever step foot on a football field. He could be the best NFL coach ever. And one of his very well coached teams struggled against our Raiders starting group. I understand it was just a preseason practice, joint practice, whatever you want to call it, but they still struggled. What's probably going to be a very good defense this year. They always have a top 10 defense. The Raiders destroyed. It's positive. It's great. Question marks. That offensive line is a glaring one. Linebacker depth, right? DB depth now. And we'll get into that here in a little bit. But I'm extremely worried about the offensive line. And I'm also concerned that if the Raiders do not find a way to really establish the run this year, it's going to be predictable. What I can tell you is if the Raiders are forced to throw, how the hell are you guarding Davante Adams? How are you guarding Davante Adams and Darren Waller? How are you guarding Davante Adams, Darren Waller, and Hunter Renfrow? And if you somehow find a way to shut those guys down or keep them at a minimum, how are you stopping Mac Hollins or DJ Turner or Tyron Johnson? You're just not. You're not going to. One of our backs out of the backfield. It's not going to happen. So the Raiders have a really good thing going for them offensively. The passing game should be near unstoppable. Unless they run into a team that just really has just all-pro studs in their secondary, I just don't see it happening, man. I really don't. I think it's a tough test week 1, but it does look like J.C. Jackson won't be there. To me, that's a win. To me, that's a win for the Raiders. I truly believe that. I think that's huge. And I hope that that's what pans out. They also play the Arizona Cardinals week 2 with no DeAndre Hopkins. Like, if you're going to start 2 games of the season against 2 very up-and-coming difficult teams, that's the time to do it, is at the beginning of the season with these injuries. It's almost too good to be true, man. It really is. If you have an opportunity to start 2-0 against teams that have injuries to impact players, I mean, now's the time to do it. But yes, biggest concern, offensive line. Major concern, offensive line. It looks like Jermaine Illuminor is probably going to be your starting right tackle. To me, it seems like Dylan Parham has figured something out because he was getting starting reps in camp. Andre James is still the guy. I still believe Parham could very well be the starting center next year, but maybe they feel he's just a very mobile and very dedicated guard, right? Thayer Mumford, when he comes back, he's going to be battling for right tackle reps. He'll probably be battling for right tackle reps next year. It just depends on how comfortable this team is, and the nice thing is you don't have to rush Parham in because John Simpson has experience, and if something happens and John Simpson's that swing guard and you have a swing tackle like Thayer Mumford available, if something happens to Illuminor, you're in good shape. I still don't think that the starting right tackle is on this roster yet. I personally don't believe Dave Ziegler is stopping where he's at. I think he's going to go after it. Big news today. Raiders waived 2021 first-round draft pick Alex Leatherwood. Man. It is incredible to me how far this kid has fallen. Everyone knows he was kind of a bad pick to begin with in the John Gruden era with Mike Mayock. I know we kind of held out hope. Struggled tremendously at tackle at the beginning of the year. Injuries forced him to move inside. He kind of struggled there too. Had his best month at the very end when he was working with Andre James and John Simpson there in the middle. Regardless, it's been a ride, man. It's been an absolute ride. The guys who drafted them, the guys that were dead set on developing this kid for the next 4 years were gone after his first season. You bring in a new team, a new regime, a new scheme, something that is actually a bit similar or simpler for offensive linemen because it's assignment-based blocking. And this guy he's been struggling. He just hasn't looked well. From week 1, preseason week 1, he looked all right. You know, it wasn't special. There wasn't anything wrong with his play. To week 2, he was on the I think it was the left side for whatever reason. They're just trying to get looks and see if he can get reps. He's going to have to be able to move back and forth depending on what happens during the season and injuries and all that other stuff. Struggled tremendously, right? Brandon Parker's another one. Struggled tremendously. Leatherwood's no longer on the team. He was cut. They couldn't even get a 6th or 7th round pick for the dude. That's how much the remaining teams in the NFL, the other 31 teams in the NFL, knew that the Raiders just weren't keeping Alex Leatherwood. They were willing to allow him to be waived. I don't think he'll be unemployed for very long. And I think he's going to relish in his second chance, right? I don't know if he'll be a starter, but I think he's going to get a second chance. I just don't know where that's going to be, who's the right team. Maybe the Raiders bring him back, put him on the practice squad. Regardless, they just ate a ton of cap for this. He was a first-round draft pick. They ate a ton of cap. The shocking news of the day was the fact that the Raiders traded cornerback Trayvon Mullen, former second-round pick, one of their better man corners the last few years. Promising guy. He ran into injuries. That's part of the reason why he was having a ton of issues, right? That's probably the biggest reason why the Raiders moved on, because of the injuries. They were only able to trade him for a conditional 6th-round pick. For sure a 7th, but a conditional 6th. He's a talented player, man, and the Cardinals just got a very talented player who they will see week 2. Right? Not a good look. Regardless, I think the Raiders must feel very good about Anthony Averett, Rock Ya-Sin. I don't get it. Nate Hobbs, right? Must really like Keyshawn Nixon as a backup. I don't know, but I can tell you guys right now, the Raiders team must feel really good about the DBs they have on their roster if they were willing to trade Trayvon like this. And for so little, because 6th-round pick for this guy's talent. I get the injuries probably factored into the value, but a conditional 6th-round for this guy is kind of crazy. Cardinals really inherited a really good. They just kind of stole this guy. I'm not going to lie to you. I think he's going to make a huge difference for the Cardinals this year, especially if he can stay healthy. So that's kind of the big news. They had to cut the 53 today. This was that day. It was the deadline. I don't know, man. I'm kind of surprised. Pretty happy with the roster. Let's take a look at what I think will be starters moving forward. Raiders waived the following players. We'll start with that. Raiders waived the following players today: Alex Bars, Bolton, Ike Brown, Bryce Crosby, Chase Garbers. Alex Leatherwood is the big one. Just can't believe that happened. Bam Bam Olaseni. I was kind of hoping I hope they bring him back on the practice squad. I really do. I think Bam Bam Olaseni has a ton of potential, and he's really a Trent Brown type guy to me. He needs to be coached up. He's 6'8". He's 26 years old, so he's probably got a short window. But I'm really excited to see what he can do moving forward. Just massive man, and he can move people. Like, he shut down Kayvon Thibodeau in the games against Oregon last year. That's why Utah won, man. They were able to keep Kayvon Thibodeau under wraps. And Olaseni was the biggest reason that happened. Massive reason. Release Darius Phillips. I thought he'd be somebody that would be a rotating starting corner this year. I was pretty shocked by that. Keelan Cole was someone I was wondering if he was on the outs with as good as DJ Turner and Tyron Johnson were doing, at least that's what we heard. Kyle Pecco is somebody that's been released as well. Injured reserve, Jacob Hollister's been moved there. Additionally, again, the Raiders have traded Trayvon Mullen to the Arizona Cardinals in exchange for a conditional 2023 pick. Lots of movement. It's just, I don't know. It's kind of crazy to me, man. It really is. It's kind of crazy to me that they were willing to get rid of Alex Leatherwood the way they did and Trayvon Mullen. I think Alex Leatherwood could have easily been a nice backup. Maybe not at the price they liked, but I mean, was it really worth getting rid of him? You have dead cap either way. Just nuts to me. Kind of crazy. So hoping they get that figured out, hoping this 53-man roster. But I don't know, man. Dude, that's just crazy. That move is just nuts to me. Hope it turns out well for the Raiders. But overall, I don't think that the Raiders are done. I really don't. I think Dave Ziegler's looking around. I truly do. I think they're happy with their DB room. I think they're very happy with their DB room. Let's see who's on the market. Darrell Williams is still on the market. I'm surprised he hasn't been scooped up by a team yet. Find that nuts, honestly. I still think the Raiders should try and trade for somebody. The Philadelphia Eagles has a really deep offensive line room. It'd be interesting to see what they could do there. Let's see here. Still to me, folks, and say what you want, right? But I personally believe, and you could call me crazy, I personally believe that the right tackle is the number one need for the Raiders right now. If Ndamukong Suh won't go down in price, I think you stay away from him. I mean, you could, I don't know, you could look at somebody else for that price point, maybe. I guess there's probably nobody there for that price point, if we're being honest. Odell Beckham's still a possibility for the Raiders at receiver. You bring him in as a number 2. That's kind of scary. Hopefully he can come back from his injury. I'm really surprised Kevin King's still on the market. That injury must have been absolutely horrible for him to still be available. He's only 27 years old. He was really improving under the Packers' first-year defensive coordinator Joe Barry. I'm just really surprised he's still on the market. Overall, Darrell Williams to me is a head scratcher. Like, why hasn't he been getting more looks? What do we not know about this situation? Seriously. It would be interesting to know why he's still available on the market. Why aren't the Raiders looking to trade for a right tackle? Personally, to me, and this is just, hindsight 2020, I don't think the Raiders should have let La'el Collins leave the building. And I shouldn't say leave the building. I don't think they should have allowed him to get to Cincinnati. I think the Raiders should have made something happen to where La'el Collins was your bookend tackle. Yes, it would have cost you around $10 million a year. Fine. To me, that's worth it. And actually, yeah, it was about $10 million a year. La'el Collins is worth that. Cheaper than Trent Brown. To me, he would have been the perfect tackle to bring in. And I'm telling you, La'el Collins is. The Cowboys are missing La'el Collins right now. 100% missing La'el Collins. 3-year, $21 million contract with the Bengals. So $7 million a year. That's all the Bengals had to do to get La'el Collins to be their right tackle this year. La'el Collins was worth $7.5 million a year for the Raiders. 100%. And you wouldn't have a problem at right tackle anymore. La'el Collins is that guy. You have Illuminor to back him up. You have a bunch of guards battling for starting positions. You're at this point you're stacked at right tackle. At this point your offensive line is massively improved, and your defense, your offense is so stacked it's not even funny. I just don't think the Raiders should have passed on him. Probably one of those hindsight 2020 type things, but Darrell Williams is still available. Watch out for Dave Ziegler. I think he's going to be extremely active. If it isn't for a defensive tackle, it's going to be for an offensive tackle. Because I just don't think the Raiders can afford to let that position slide. If they do, they're risking their quarterback. Maybe Illuminor is much better and more improved than I think I know. I haven't seen it from the film I saw in preseason. He knows the system. It's obvious. It looks almost natural. But reality is, I don't know if he's that starting caliber right tackle that the Raiders need. It's tough. Darren Waller contract, I hear, is on the horizon. Be the richest paid tight end in the league. That'd be awesome. We need him for week 1. If Darren Waller's available week 1, I just don't see how they lose to the Chargers with J.C. Jackson out. Because at that point, the only thing that the Chargers have really improved is that interior defensive line. Raiders should be able to throw all over those guys. Right now, the Joey Bosa thing makes me nervous. Who's Joey Bosa going up against? Yikes. Absolutely freaky. In 2 weeks, the NFL season kicks off, folks. I'm so excited. Make sure you guys are on the lookout on Twitter, at SinCity_IESR. Hit that follow button, hit that notifications button, because I will be posting small videos, kind of some coach talk, some Vegas coach talk, things I think that the Raiders are doing well, what they could have done, that kind of stuff. Videos, just a bit of breakdowns, tiny breakdowns. I think it'll help with the channel. I think it'll help the show. Something I already do for free. Might as well just do it on here too, because I love the coaching stuff. I love the breakdowns. Film is life, right? Doing that on my favorite team would be awesome. This is the Sin City Sports Show presented by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I am your host, Cale Henderson, and you guys tune in next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, for another awesome show here at IE Vegas. Oh yeah. Love, peace, and hair grease.